Just to let you know, there is a book list I've given you in the pack as well, so that's for you to use. Okay, so we've covered what you're going to be covering um, in terms of week by week. We're actually going to be starting with what aromatherapy actually is. And the term aromatherapy means flower therapy. Um, and it's often referred to as an holistic therapy because it treats the whole part. So it treats the emotional part of the body, the mental part, the spiritual and the physical. So it is an holistic therapy, but we always have to be careful because we cannot claim that aromatherapy cures ailments. You have to be very, very mindful. It's a complementary therapy as well, so it actually works in line with allopathic medicine, which is your standard medicine. But aromatherapy has been around 8,000 years. And what's happened is that as our industrial revolution came into being, we needed quicker ways of using our medicine. So instead of waiting a week for some oils to work or some herbs, or constantly slow dressing a wound, we needed quick solutions. So that's why synthetic drugs came in, and they mimic the properties of plants and herbs anyway, but they're just much more effective and more suitable to this fast lifestyle that we live. And I believe allopathic medicine has its place, because who wants a cough for 2-3 weeks when we can help clear that very quickly? But we also have to be very mindful that if we're clearing something too quickly and it doesn't run its natural cycle, because everything has a cycle on a cellular level, then we are suppressing that, and that's going to go somewhere else in the body. And this is why we have to deal with the whole person, because if something happens to you physically and it's suppressed, it may affect you emotionally. And this is why aromatherapy is really good, because it allows you to be still and listen to your body. So I'm just looking at my notes, and it was created around Egyptian times. So there's lots of pictures on the pyramids of reflexology and people using essential oils. When there was embalming bodies, they would use essential oils. Obviously, when people are being born, we know the story of Jesus. They put frankincense and myrrh for luck and spirituality and connection. And present in the temples, frankincense and myrrh was space clearing oils. So they was used to clear the space. Again, jumping forward, frankincense is also good to open you up spiritually, and it's good for deep breathing, so again that helps you meditate. So we can see, and also clears, so we can see why this was used, be able to worship more, hence clearing a space of negative energy, but also allowing you to breathe very deeply, so when you're at church you can actually help yourself. So René Gattefoss was the Frenchman that discovered the healing properties of aromatherapy. After experimenting with the oils, he actually burnt his hand, and he plunged his hand into some lavender, and being a doctor, he knew that you could get burns on your hands, and he was waiting for the burns to appear. And realizing that they didn't, he really started to work much more with the oils because of the healing properties. And this was lavender. Margaret Moray used it to rejuvenate clients' skin. So when they had wrinkles, she used pure rose, which is really expensive, and it rejuvenated the cells in the skin, and actually made her clients look much younger. So it actually was an anti-aging and a reverse aging properties. So they brought aromatherapy into the Western world and turned it into more of a relaxing therapy. Because before you only massage your back, neck and shoulders, but obviously in the Western world we want more luxury, so the whole body was catered for. Safety precautions. When you're working with aromatherapy, remember they're volatile substances, so the area has to be ventilated. Do not keep using oils. Make sure they're diluted in a carrier oil. If if you're working with clients, you have to have a break. All blends have got to be labelled and dated. That's if you're blending. It doesn't really apply here. If you're working with somebody who's got a medical condition, always check. So if it's a member of your family, always check that they can have a massage. And if you finish with oils, put them in tissue and in the dustbin. Do not throw them down the sink because they actually clog up your drains. And also do not take any oils internally. I know they do this in France and certain places, parts of America, but we don't want to do this because it would be crazy. Some oils can actually kill you, so taking them internally. Some conditions where you may not be able to use aromatherapy, history of thrombosis and embolism, so no massaging, migraine, diabetes, high blood pressure, pregnancy, you have to be really careful. You cannot use lavender in the first trimester of pregnancy. Children and babies is half the doses of adults. I would say 1 drop. With diabetes, check with the general practitioner. And also with migraine, you have to be really careful because some oils might make the migraine worse. Again, rosemary oil, be really careful if someone suffers from epilepsy. And if someone has asthma, be careful with lavender. When you're storing your oils, they should be dark bottles. So there should be this bottle here. Away from sunlight. Keep away from children. Do not use if your skin is open. And keep away from oils away from naked flames. There are 5 oils that should not be used in aromatherapy, even though they are on the market for general public use, and that's arnica, because it's actually a poison, but it's used in homeopathy. Mugwort. Now, mugwort's okay as a herb, but it's got to be prescribed by a practitioner. Pennyroyal, wormwood, and aniseed. They can be really toxic for the body. Again, when you're buying oils, always make sure that it's got the Latin name. So for lavender, you have Lavandula angustifolium, and that's a true essential oil. Again, when you're looking for lavender, do not make sure it's not lavandin, which I'll explain in the second half. But always check. Do not. There's perfume oils, and they don't have the names on them, the Latin names in italics. So always make sure there's Latin names on your oils, and that will tell you if it's a true oil. Also check with a company that is a reputable company. I always will let you know in the UK the company I use is very reputable, and they have a really great policy, and they can answer lots of questions. So it's really important that you follow these guidelines that I've got in your PDF. Again, essential oil is a highly concentrated volatile substance made from plants, roots or barks or fruits. And it's much more concentrated than the actual plant roots, bark and trees. Roots and bark that it comes from. Again, never use oil straight on the skin apart from tea tree oil and lavender. And I would say if you've got very sensitive skin, I would dilute that too. Because sometimes you can get oversensitive. And again, if you use the same oils again and again and again, you can become sensitized to that. And there's some oils that we don't use and go into the sun, but they're not covered in this course. But they are, I would say, like the lemongrass. Do not use them on the skin, or bergamot and then go into the sun, because they could affect you and cause photosensitizing of the skin where you get brown patches.